nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it.
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. My name's Devin. No Austin FC games to talk about, but some goings-on, some roster moves, a schedule drop that's delightfully early for MLS. So a little bit to talk about there. We have a travelogue that we're going to start with about adventures to the Grey Cup in the Great White North, won by a certain team that, might be the greatest CFL team of all time. We'll maybe just discuss that a little bit. But starting out, Scott, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's cold and a little bit rainy here in Austin, which made for a really nice morning walk. And it's always good to wake up the morning after Texas beats A&M in football, like we always do.
Yay! What's it been? 15 years? 16?
Yeah, it's been 15 years, and then you have to go back to 2007 for the second time A&M's won. So that's like pre-Obama presidency.
There's going to be kids who go to next year's game who will be able to drive who were not alive the last time A&M beat UT.
Yikes.
And I think last night's game made it all-time UT's record is 78-37-5 against A&M.
A hammer and a nail is not a rivalry. There's
a really great quote by a Texas player about the A&M players talking shit about them. And he was like, you'll notice that we were not concerned about them. We were concerned about us.
A hammer and a nail is not a rivalry. So did you watch the North London Derby last Sunday on Brad?
I did see some of it. That was impressive by your boys at Arsenal, but it's otherwise been a good week. Tried to watch a decent amount of football yesterday, starting with my second favorite rivalry game in college football with the Egg Bowl. And then, some personal accomplishments this week, and hopefully watch Auburn for the first time in 3 years. I get to cheer for them without feeling terrible about it, and hopefully watch them pull an upset tonight. So we'll see.
Yeah, some good games on today. We're recording Saturday morning after Thanksgiving. Good Friday slate. Hopefully Saturday can follow it up. I have a sneaking suspicion Mizzou's going to find a way to lose to Arkansas, but we'll see how that goes. Also with us today, Seth, can I ask you, are the Saskatchewan Roughriders as shining, muscular, and handsome as I think they are?
They're not.
Okay.
I have to say. But Brad, you want to weigh in here? I'll let you.
But the Saskatchewan Roughriders fans are.
There we go.
Because, between the mustache guy who like half of his handlebar mustache was white and the other half green, and then the shirtless man cheering people on in the last minute who had to be late 50s with a back brace on while having the toboggan hat at the same time was just phenomenal.
Dedication.
But also, like, tons of Rough Riders fans in Winnipeg. But at the same time, like they just won their first Grey Cup in 12 years, and it wasn't utter pandemonium.
I mean, it's Canada.
Well, that's what you have to understand. So Grey Cup week is really about the parties before Grey Cup week. So that, like, the Grey Cup is like day 6 of drinking. So everyone is exhausted by the time they get to the actual game.
Just like Davos.
The beer lines would suggest otherwise, because they were long as shit that game.
Yeah,
that's just because they were inefficient, because they were selling beers pregame for $6 Canadian. So yes, you could buy 2 beers a person for just over $4 US at the championship game.
Yeah, it was also the first. It's the first sporting event too. While standing in the bathroom line, the beers at the beer van are next to it, that I saw somebody get cut off in the first half. Like, the lady who was running the beer would not sell this guy a drink. He looked all pissed off. It was pretty funny.
Spiritually an LSU fan. There we go. But I guess, Seth, you were there a little longer, so tell us about your shenanigans before Brad arrived.
Yeah, so my shenanigans there is on Friday night, I went down to the convention center and went to Taste of the CFL. So this is a new event. And so, like, the convention centers in each city where they host the CFL, where they host the Grey Cup, are huge party venues. So that usually each team or sometimes two teams partner up together to host their own party rooms that are active for the whole week. We did not buy wristbands. Maybe in retrospect, we should have bought wristbands that would have gotten us access to all of these party rooms, and that they have different food, drinks, concerts, random C-list Canadian artists that we've never heard of, like watch along for random NHL games or soccer games or whatever else is going on there. They also, it's kind of amazing because there are 9 teams in the CFL, but there are 10 teams represented at the Grey Cup Festival, because the Atlantic Schooners, who were supposed to exist in 1981 and have never actually played a game, have their own party room. And I saw at least a dozen plus people wearing Atlantic Schooners jerseys, and they were represented at Taste of the CFL. Like, I've never seen a team, like, we look at like the SEC now, or like, oh, okay, or should Texas and Texas A&M and Oklahoma really be in the SEC? And then you're like, the CFL has spiritually included a team that doesn't exist.
Bring back Sewanee.
But food was outstanding at Taste of the CFL, probably too much. I'd say the most ambitious attempt of anything were our friends, the Calgary Stampeders, that tried to do tamari glazed beef ribs. And I would say best idea, but trying to cook like 800 beef ribs, the execution was not as good, and it was not fall off the bone. It would not have survived in Austin for very long at that point.
Like,
were they like the big? Yeah, were they the big like brontosaurus style?
They were, I wouldn't say brontosaurus would be slightly larger. I would say like medium size, but like big, like they were dinosaur cut, but like Canadian dinosaurs, so they're smaller than American dinosaurs.
That conversion rate. There we go.
But yeah, definitely not like the beef back rib or anything like that. But I will say the best execution was from the Hamilton Ticats, that had a short rib bow that had just fantastic flavoring in it. So they won my vote. But also the lobster roll from the Atlantic Schooners was also very, very good. And the Winnipeg steak and lobster slider was the worst thing I had there by a good margin, because the steak was really roast beef. And let's face it, the great lobsters of Winnipeg. We did see polar bears. We did go to the zoo and see polar bears, because Manitoba has more polar bears than anywhere else on Earth, but we did not fly to Churchill.
I'm glad that you clarified that it was in a zoo, because for a second we were talking about food and then you said polar bear and I was really concerned about where that was going.
I did not eat polar bear. Let's be very, very clear. I like eating tasty animals. Polar bear is a step too far for that.
Like just polar or any bear?
I don't think I've ever had any. No, that's a lie. I went to a Russian house and went to Bear Week once. So yes, I have had some bear before.
There you go. I had a little bit at this nice place in Sweden. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I had bear one time when I was a kid. My grandfather's church used to do a wild game dinner when all the hunters would come back once a year, and just you pay a certain amount of money and have crazy food that you'd never normally eat. It's fun.
Yeah. So I'm watching. Tyler Adams just scored for Bournemouth, and it is absolutely thunderfuck pissing down rain at the Stadium of Light right now, which I'm hoping we get for some Big Ten weather later. But maybe rain, maybe snow. Speaking of, how was the temperature in the Great White North and those landlocked lobsters?
It actually wasn't that bad. I mean, it was like upper 20s most of the time. It was sunny during the day. It was global warming is real.
Windy at all?
A little bit, but not too crazy.
Okay.
There were some people. I was perfectly fine with it, but there were definitely some locals that were wishing it was much colder, like the infamous '91 Grey Cup, where the temperature was 0 degrees at the start, -5 at the end, with a -35 wind chill.
Well, yeah, Seth, I think we all remember where we were for the '91 Grey Cup.
Yes. No, but did I know about the '91 Grey Cup before going to Winnipeg? No. Did I know about the '91 Grey Cup after going to Winnipeg? Yes.
Do you know all about it now? Or are you tired of hearing about it? All right. Well, what other fun stuff did you guys get into, Brad?
So Tony, myself, and Tony Cardoni, who from Austin Anthem fame, arrived late that same night. Which, hilariously enough, as we're going through customs, the person checking Tony in goes, "What are you here for?" And he goes, "I'm here from Texas for the Grey Cup." And he got the weirdest look on earth. And she goes, "Did you come alone?" And then he points over at me. And I just kind of was like, "Hi." The guy that checked me in just was non-impulsive. I was like, "Okay, whatever." We got to the Airbnb. It was nice. Caught up with Seth for probably an hour, and then we all went to sleep. That was a weird look, Seth. Sorry. And then next morning, we got up and found our way over to this really nice, what would you call it, food hall market kind of thing. They had beers and probably 15, 20 different food stalls. Everybody kind of got a little bit of something to eat, warm up for a minute, and then found our way over to the Museum of the Canadian Human Rights Museum. Is that right? That's the right name of it?
Yeah, human rights, because they still have those north of the border.
Yeah. Very interesting place. We probably spent, 2-3 hours in there? Yeah.
That was really, really well done. And the building
Really
was gorgeous. I've never been in a museum where you just perpetually kept walking up. So by the time we started on the ground floor, by the time we entered the museum, we were on the 7th floor, which in the normal building, the 7th floor would have been like the 25th floor.
Yeah, it's a lot of walking. It's a lot of exercise in that museum to get to where you want to go, unless you take the escalator or the elevator. Sorry. Because the museum goes bottom up. Like you work your way up to the top.
You work your way towards the light.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's how the Royal Canadian Museum in Toronto was too. So maybe that's just a Canadian thing of how they designed them.
Yeah. Yes. And then from there we bounced around a couple of breweries, ate some delicious pizza, went to apparently the #1 brewery in Winnipeg, the Trans-Canadian Brewery, on our way to the very outskirts of Winnipeg. And I mean the outskirts, like, kind of got a little scary when you're driving because you're just in the middle of farms all of a sudden. And then here's a junior hockey game with maybe 150 to 200 other people there.
Yes, you guys saw the not St. Louis Blues play who?
I don't remember.
It was a very, very long First Nations name from northern Manitoba. I'm not going to try to pronounce it.
I literally can't pronounce it. It was 3-0 after the first period for Winnipeg, but it ended up being 3-2. Turned out to be a pretty good game. No booze being sold there, which made it tough. But
they did have a very, very fancy coffee machine that could make you all sorts of like matcha lattes and things like that from a vending machine. Second most impressive vending machine we have seen this year.
For sure. But yeah, that was kind of day one. And then we hit another brewery on the way home. Brewery scene in Winnipeg was pretty nice. I'll let you go to Grey Cup Day itself, Seth.
Yeah, so then Grey Cup Day, we kicked it off by going to the zoo in the morning because we were like, okay, what else is there to do in Winnipeg here? We wanted to see polar bears, and we did eventually see polar bears. It took like 7 different looks into the polar bear exhibit until we finally found a polar bear.
It's a monster polar bear exhibit. Like they have a ton of room to roam around, but there was like 2 polar bears in one little corner. You had to go all the way around to find them. Yeah.
I mean, it would be like walking all the way around Q2 to find one polar bear. Oh, wait a minute. But I will say the lady at the horse barn was very, very, so the largest animals there were the workhorses. And these workhorses weigh over a ton. They were big, big workhorses. And she was quite intrigued that 3 Americans were going to the Grey Cup. But that was the normal reaction we would get on things. After that, we had a really good lunch at a local place that blended exotic meats and tribal and native cuisine. I had an elk burger with duck bacon. That was really good. I'm trying to remember. You got the shakshuka, or did Tony get the shakshuka?
No, I had shakshuka with duck bacon in it and some other stuff too. It was really delicious.
Yeah, no, they did a good job. We went to a casino afterwards, which the casino was actually really nice, but their sports book was really, really lame. So we didn't stay.
Yeah, we weren't trying to gamble. We were actually just trying to watch football. It was because there was also shuttles from the casino, so we were like, oh, maybe we'll just sit here and watch games and go to the football game from here. But we didn't stay long and worked our way downtown, found parking right across the street from the Winnipeg Jets arena.
But the Winnipeg Jets are not the best team that plays in this arena, as we have found out.
True.
Neither are the Manitoba Moose. Brad, take it away.
The best logo of any team in Winnipeg belongs to the Winnipeg Solar Bears. Wasn't it the Solar Bears? Is that the name? Is that right? That was their name, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's a panda, not a panda. It's a polar bear. No, the Winnipeg Sun Bears. That's what they were. They were the Winnipeg Sun Bears.
The sea bears. They're the sea bears.
They're polar bears. Sea bears. God, I keep forgetting it. Anyway, they're polar bears with like sunglasses on, and little people had scarves and shit walking around all of a sudden downtown. They play during their basketballs, and they play in the Canadian version of the new Canadian Basketball League, whatever it is. But anyway, the Sea Bears apparently play from like February to June or July, which is interesting for the basketball season. Couldn't buy merch anywhere, which was sad because I was hardcore looking for Sea Bear merch at that point. But around the corner from there was a small like casino thing, sports bar that we actually found NFL Sunday Ticket on. So I started watching like an hour's worth of NFL and having a beer or two before we left for the game. And then took the bus down to the game. The efficiency of public transit in and out of this sporting event was impressive. So they had multiple buses, either direct to the stadium, or this was like just regular old, what we took, public transit bus. Took 20 minutes from downtown to get there because the stadium's probably 9 or 10 miles south of the city. Imagine this: the bus has like specific lanes that are literally paved just for the bus to go through, kind of like train terminals almost. So it speeds past everything. Progressively fills up as we get there, and we get to the stadium hour and a half, 2 hours before kickoff, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, well, because they're very MLS in their kickoff times. The game kicks off at 5, and the game didn't kick off till 5:48. Yeah.
Get in line, easy to get in. Stadium's very nice. Holds about 30 to 35,000, somewhere in that range. If you've ever been to Seattle, it looks like a miniature version of the Seahawks Stadium, Lumen Field up there. And so we get in. Our seats are like almost right by the gate we walk in, but we walk kind of around the concourse. The biggest complaint I have about the stadium is the concourses are too small. Everything was just extremely tight. Reminded me of the concourses at the Patriots Stadium in New England, where they also have extremely small and tight concourses. So we finally work our way up to the other side to go to the team merch store so that we can get some Grey Cup merch. Took a few minutes to get in there, but once you're in there, they were pretty efficient. They had a ton of people in and out. And Seth noticed like the president of the team for the
Blue Bombers,
of the Blue Bombers was in there working, like greeting people and working and making sure people were getting in and out. So we got our merch and worked our way upstairs to the stadium. Had a few, each of us housed a couple of $6 pregame beers while we could before they stopped the special on the $6 beers.
$6 Canadian.
Yeah, $6 Canadian. Let's see. Got to the seats. Seats were good. We were kind of on the goal line-ish, on one of the goal lines, essentially. And remember, the end zones are 20 yards deep. There were 2 flyovers. One no one was expecting as the Grey Cup was kind of being delivered out or something like that. And then the other one was after the Canadian national anthem. What I appreciated most about the game itself was Seth and I have both been to a Super Bowl as well. Separate ones. Super Bowl, very corporate. More than half the people there do not give a shit who wins the game. They're just there for the game. Everybody at this game had a rooting interest, even if you were a rival fan. You picked a side, you cheered for them. People were in there. Now, you saw stuff from every team in the league because people just converge on this. But you were there to enjoy the sport. You weren't there because of some corporate outing. Didn't see anything like that. It was a people's game, which I really appreciated. We got to kick off, and we could have left after 5 minutes because we saw what we came to see. 5 minutes into the game, the score is 1-0. Because it was Saskatchewan. Was it Saskatchewan that punted it?
Yeah, it was Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan punted it from about midfield. The punt went towards the corner of the field of play, got away from the Montreal returner and bounced about 10, 15 yards into the end zone. Really nothing he could do with it and had to take the rouge. Best part is, funniest part is rather, Tony missed it. He had gone downstairs for a minute. I think to use the bathroom and get some food or something. Because
I will say, food scene is pretty good at the stadium. Yeah. They had you go in there that you guys both had they had buffalo chicken poutine in our upper, because they had two separate concourses. So we had access to the upper deck concourse, but the lower deck concourse had pretty much the same food there. I had this like Ratha Khan wrap, which was chicken, beef, lamb, and falafel all in a laffa roll. Like for 16 Canadian dollars, so like $11 US for a giant Middle Eastern burrito at a game. Apparently the guys, they sell so many wraps at the game between their 3 or 4 stands that they actually have to get there at 10 p.m. the night before a game to start making everything. So like it was, their efficiency put Chipotle to shame, which is how a good stadium concession operator should be.
Yeah, and it was impressive too, because we got up there and we found out Winnipeg had sold out every game this year. Which is really pretty impressive for Canadian football.
Is their stadium 20,738 seats, or
that's more? It's about 30,738. But yeah, apparently they legitimately sold out every game this year. Which is
so, and their whole strategy this year was we're going to be Winnipeg's biggest party. So when I met the president of the Blue Bombers on Friday night at Taste of the CFL, he was like, "Yeah, we have 5,000 people that come to our games that never see a play." Like, at least in the South End, people usually they might be obstructed by a flag, but they usually see part of a game.
That's a very thirsty Thursday minor league baseball marketing approach.
Yes,
like people will come and don't remember the final score of the game, don't give a shit. You're just there to party and have drinks.
Yeah.
Which it works. It gets people in the seats, and they're spending money. So who cares?
I want to go just to try this meat tornado thing Seth was talking about. I know you called it something else, but that's what it is.
So yeah, the game ended up being pretty solid. First half was solid. Looked like Saskatchewan was kind of going to run away with it. I walked downstairs to go find a hot chocolate that they had been advertising with Bailey's in it. Get to the front of the line after waiting 15 minutes and find out they're out of hot chocolate, which was disappointing.
They had the $6 Bailey shots, but not $3 hot chocolate.
Yes.
Also, the hot chocolate was only $3 Canadian.
Yeah. But while I was down there, Seth, you got to enjoy the Machine Gun Kelly halftime show.
Yeah, that was a thing that I watched.
Wow, tell me less.
I will say, we didn't mention during the anthem earlier, if you had bet the under on the anthem time, it was only 68.5 seconds when the over-under was set at 90 seconds.
Yeah, and it was bilingual anthem. So
of course, it's always bilingual at the Coupe Grey Cup.
Yeah.
And they have the same person sing both, right?
No. Well, it's the bilingual anthem. It is just you do a few lines in English, a few lines in French, then finish in English.
God, Trudeau really fucked up that country. All right, go
ahead. Prime Minister got booed heavily. We'll get to that in a second. So that's before the game. I forgot the best part of pregame, actually. Prime Minister comes out with the coin toss presented by Coinbase. So quite literally, the only physical coin this company has ever produced is a flip of a coin, a fake one, for the coin toss for the Grey Cup.
Coinbase doesn't even make crypto. They're a wallet company.
I know, but hilarious to me. And Prime Minister came out with him and got booed pretty heavily.
Was Gary Bettman there?
No, but Stuart Johnson, the CFL commissioner, got booed almost as loud as the Prime Minister did.
Okay, we'll take that.
Yeah, during the cup presentation, yeah. So second half comes, looks like Saskatchewan's about to run away with the game, and then Montreal mounts a fourth quarter comeback that gets really interesting. And I thought about this after I landed back in Austin. So Montreal is down 8-8 with about 4 minutes to go, somewhere in that range. They're on the 1-2 yard line. And every touchdown in this game had basically been quarterback sneaks, because remember, you have to line up a yard off the ball so they could snap it and just kind of move 2-3 feet one way or the other and almost run a 1 yard dive play that way with the quarterback, and it's easy for the touchdown. So it looks like Montreal's going to score here and try to go for 2, tie the game up late in the fourth quarter. And you get an essential butt fumble. Quarterback takes a snap, tries to move to his left. One of his blockers kind of gets in his way, cutting in, crashing down on the block. Quarterback bounces into the block, or runs into the blocker, fumbles, hits his ass, fumble the ball out, and Saskatchewan recovers to effectively end the game. And it hit me, both professional football championship games I have now been to have largely ended on a turnover with the ball at the 1 yard line. Because I was at the Patriots Super Bowl where they intercepted the Seahawks to end the game when the Seahawks refused to hand it to Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. So kind of fun in that respect. But Saskatchewan fans went nuts, including the shirtless guy next to us. Montreal did get the ball back late with a chance to tie. They had a throw into the end zone on a Hail Mary on the last play, but didn't convert. Saskatchewan wins, and the Saskatchewan fans had a great evening.
Good that we did.
Yeah. And then the post game got rough. Seth, you weren't around for this part.
I mean, was it worse than me partying at the Mugshots in Covington, Louisiana?
So we're staying in a relative. The neighborhood we stayed in was nice. I thought it was fine. Seth went back. We got back to the Airbnb. He had a very early flight, so he went to sleep. So Tony and I are like, we're going to go have a nightcap somewhere. There's a bar 2 blocks away that we found. As we walk in, we get ID'd, okay, whatever, and patted down. We start asking questions, and these 2 women at the bar start talking to us. And they find out we're American and we're from Texas. And one of them's like, I love Texas, and just can't get over how much she's loving Texas or whatever. And we find out there have been some shootings at that bar previously. So that's why the pat downs happened. I'm like, okay. They also serve, this bar is open till like 2 or 3 in the morning. Then it reopens at 8 to serve like coffee and breakfast, apparently, because sure. So anyway, we're sitting there talking to the bartenders and just having different beers. And the next thing you know, those girls and a few other people start finding out again. We're up here from Texas. And they're like, why are you here? It's like, we're here for the Grey Cup. And people lost their fucking shit because holy hell, why are you here for the Grey Cup from Texas? And in the span of about 80 minutes, we were about 4 Jameson shots on top of the beers. Yeah, that hurt. That hurt a lot. And so we get to the point at about 1 or so in the morning where it's like, we're going to need food. Luckily there was a Pizza Hut across the street that didn't close till 2. And we might have housed 2 pizzas.
Were you in a better or worse shape than Hugh Freeze firing day?
Yeah, it was it hurt the next day. Let's put it that way. Like, I don't do that. I hardly drink at all. And, yeah, it got rough. So, but fun. Canadians the Winnipeg people were very nice to us. They loved the fact that we were there for the game. And, several times we apologized for our political situation. But could have been nicer. I thought the city was nice. It looked to me, it kind of reminded me of any Midwestern city you would find, like mid-sized Midwestern city. It a lot like a Columbus, Cleveland type thing. Felt to me lightweight. Seth, I don't know if you felt different, but
yeah, no, it was just your standard Midwestern city, just slightly colder than your standard Midwestern city, and no American alcohol in any site because of course, Budweiser, Miller, Coors, and Dr. Pepper are all now made in Canada.
Impressive.
But like it was weird going into a state liquor store in Manitoba and really anywhere in Canada now, and you just see like 10% of the shelves are empty because they won't sell American products.
Yeah. So, and flew out the next day. So it was a good trip. I would absolutely do it again. It's in Calgary next year. We also the weather was around freezing at kickoff for the game. And of course we're bundled up and the folks around us are going, God, I can't believe we got such great weather for this game. Because apparently the last time it was in Winnipeg, it was like -20 at kickoff.
Real football weather. There you go. All right. Well, All right, so Calgary next year, do we know how far out that is from the rodeo? Or if there will
The
be a rodeo?
rodeo's in July. The Stampede's in July.
Stampede's in
Okay.
July.
Or if there will be another rodeo?
No, there will not be you cannot have rodeo and Grey Cup in the same time. That's not
It's
possible.
just too much.
Yes.
Oh, the
Too
Stampede's
much Grey Cup and
deal.
rodeo.
Huge. The Stampede's a massive deal up there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's almost like the team's named after it or something.
I feel like they wouldn't have enough like hotel rooms or like Airbnbs to like successfully host both events.
So do they have rules against it? I would think you have to do like one east, one west, back and forth, or do they just like work their way across Canada?
I mean, this is
I mean,
going
it
to
was
be
against
three
Vancouver the year
straight.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, this will be three straight out west because they did Vancouver last year. So they just rotate.
It's a 9-year cycle, and it's just like everyone hosts. Well, then COVID slightly screwed it up.
It's just supposed to
Let me
rotate.
just
to every
double
city
check, make sure there's nothing
every 9
weird
years.
there as we go through it here.
Interesting.
Yeah, because if we look at it now in most recent years, yeah, it has been, and then it's going to be at the Mosaic in Saskatchewan in 27. So it's 4.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
But then it was at Tim Hortons Field. Like Toronto has only hosted once since BMO Field opened. Yeah, it's a weird. Like Montreal has never hosted at their normal stadium. The last time they hosted was at the Stade Olympique in 2008, and that's still under renovation right now. So, yeah, I can't blame you. Can't really host that at McGill.
No, but I mean that's weird too because Hamilton's like more or less a suburb of Toronto.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right.
Ottawa hasn't hosted in a little while as well. They haven't hosted since 2017, and maybe they'll host in 28.
There you go. All right. Well, Calgary's a good destination. Sasky would be a cultural experience for a lot of people.
I get the sense that Regina would be even a level down from the excitement of Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg, I kind of get the impression it's like if you stuck Indianapolis in North Dakota. This is more like if you stuck Decatur in North Dakota or Paducah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? You're going to probably have more of a college football vibe, which would be kind of fun.
Yeah, true. All right, well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have another travelogue. We do have to actually talk about Austin FC. So I don't know if you guys want to start the schedule or...
Yeah, I mean, schedule stuff. We already have a schedule, which is weeks ahead of normal, which is great. 3 Eastern Conference road games are at Charlotte, which I think we're going to do a traveling pod. Devin, are you joining? Or are you?
I have to look because you guys decided before I even saw the schedule because I was standing in a horse stall in Jacksonville, Florida. And you guys were like, we're already going to this game. And I was like, I don't know where the fuck I am, what day of the week it is, or what time it is. So I'll get back to you.
The weekend of like March 8th. You're fine.
Yeah,
it's early March.
Yeah.
And it's on a Saturday.
Yes. At proper 7:30 kickoff time.
Yeah. Local, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
6:30 Central.
I might be able to be.
We're at Toronto, which we did 2 years ago, so I'm not going to do Toronto again. Unless it sets up where I could do it as a day trip, which would be interesting.
Yeah, because that's time TBD, right?
It's time TBD. I think it will be an early kick. I just don't know how early.
Yeah, I may go up there and do that one because the Senators are playing the Leafs like 2 days before that game. So I could do the full Canada hockey experience in April when it's not negative 6,000 degrees.
And the Leafs are already out of the playoffs.
Every season, Seth. The Leafs are already out of the playoffs as soon as every season starts.
They usually make the playoffs, so then they find the funniest way to lose in the playoffs possible.
Yeah. So they're already out of the playoffs. They're like the Mets.
The team that has won the World Series more recently than the Leafs have won the Stanley Cup.
Yes,
Multiple
by a
times.
wide margin too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but any other highlights we want to hit? I know you were on Moon Tower this week about the schedule, but
yeah, I mean, we are playing at Inter Miami for their stadium opening. It's going to be an utter circus. Like I mean, I expect Trump's going to be there. You're going to have to get there like 3 hours early. The trains aren't going to work. It's going to be stupid, but it'll be one of those events to say like, hey, I was at Inter Miami's first game at Miami Freedom Park.
Sure. Why not?
It's
Is
also-
Robert Taylor destined to start that game?
Well, who knows? Maybe he'll get bought out by then.
Who else is going to man Mark Messi?
He could pull a Jared Stroud. It's our best. So yeah, Miami has to play what, like 8 road games, and then us in that game?
5.
5? Okay. Oh, that's not that bad.
So the question is, they qualified for CONCACAF Champions Cup. If they win MLS Cup, which I mean, I'd say they're the favorites to do so right now, that if they win it, they go to the round of 16, so they don't play games until March. I guess they could still play a game at home at Chase. There is a chance they could open it with a CCC game in February or March, but I don't know if it's going to be ready. I just assume they'll play at their current stadium before then.
Any chance they'll play at where the Dolphins play? Miami Gardens, whatever the hell it's called
Hard
now.
Rock, I have to look at. They moved the tennis out to Hard Rock, so that is that's usually around then. When is the Miami tennis?
When's the F1 race too?
So yeah, the tennis is March 15th to 29th.
When's F1? Because F1's at Hard Rock.
F1's in May usually. Miami, but Miami is F1 for 26 is May 1st to 3rd. So yeah, they're gonna be like doing the thing between what you call tennis and the F1. So that's a ton of setup. Does that come through there?
Yeah,
You did.
Never know with all the fun and joys of recording on the internet.
Yeah,
True.
and
I mean,
we're
it's also that if you go to that game, like as long as Messi's healthy, there's no way he doesn't play that game. Like,
yeah.
that is the one guarantee, like Messi game this season.
So, and I'm happy that the people who will travel get the opportunity to see that. But I think we got the least interesting schedule on the road possible outside of that Messi game. I mean, like, I had a great time in Toronto. We were just there. Charlotte, I'm looking forward to going because I've never done Charlotte for soccer. Be fun. Also, it's working out perfectly for me because it's just the front end of a longer trip now. And Charlotte's one of 2 or 3 airports that has direct flights to my hometown where I'm going directly after, so it just works. But we were there just a couple of years ago. We still haven't been to 4 Eastern Conference cities. And we're about to enter year 6. Like, that's crazy. We shouldn't be at that. And I know that's going to get fixed with the new schedule. I know that's going to get fixed, but it's still stupid.
Yeah, I don't know if we really talked a whole lot about the new schedule format either.
We've had a show since it got announced.
Yeah. So I'm glad they're finally switching. It seems like a big change, but to me, like, most of the game days you're playing are going to be pretty similar. You get some of the summer off, you get a winter break, but most of the months you're actually playing in are roughly the same.
Yeah. I talked about this
schedule overlap.
Yeah, like I talked about this on Top Flight a couple of weeks ago, and it's really not that different, especially considering this season we're already having a summer break because of the World Cup, and we generally have a few weeks off because of Leagues Cup. And so it just kind of, I don't know, it's really just rethinking the season in terms of when the start date is, as opposed to when the games are being played. And it is annoying in the sense of, like, you have to list out every season as having 2 years now, as opposed to like the one season like baseball does, which is a little easier to talk about. But I think this is a great move. It aligns us with the European schedule in a really nice way, and also it lines us up with Liga MX is really nice, which we keep doing more and more with the Mexican League to try to have Leagues Cup and other internationals and mixing between the leagues, and this is going to make that really easy. And hopefully we kind of go to more of a single elimination playoff, or kind of go to the way Liga MX does playoffs.
This should, besides the calendars lining up, right? I understand the northern cities are pissed off because they're going to lose those nice summer evenings that people get to go do and watch soccer. You know what? there's a trade-off here because you say you can't play soccer up there during the winter. It's really come down here and play all the time when it's 100 degrees, even after nighttime. Because I know y'all say we play at night. It's still freaking hot, you guys. It's still ridiculous. Miami with the humidity. There's cities all around this league where there's no perfect answer because of just the climate we have in this wide, massive space that we live in. This isn't England where everybody's within 3 or 4 hours of each other. So, or Germany or wherever. Like, we have a massive continent that we're trying to cover with different climates in every portion of it. So there's no easy answer. I think it's the best for transfer purposes. I think it's the best for making this league competitive with CCL. Because now you have early season transfers that'll come in during the summer. Give those players an opportunity to gel with the team. You're not just starting the season. I think last year, quite literally, like Vancouver and maybe Miami and another team, their first game of the season was a CCC match.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything else. So you're not jumping straight to our Champions League, which is great. That little break in the winter, honestly, I kind of like it. Little refresh. You're not just constantly having a game every week or two.
There are a lot of European leagues that do that. It's pretty normal.
It'll be fine. Like it's 6-7 weeks. Like it's not the biggest of deals in that
7.
Hey.
I mean, the thing you touched on that I think is really important is that usually the geography of the U.S. and Canada works against us in terms of travel and in terms of trying to get midweek matches scheduled. This break allows us with some smart scheduling to use that to our advantage of being able to schedule those expected winter games in warmer cities that are south or in domes. And really, it would be interesting to see if somebody does this, to look at the average temperature at kickoff for like 2024, 2025 versus like the season moving forward. Because I guarantee you it's going to be a better, more comfortable temperature average than it currently is. Because all those summer games in Texas are brutal.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to play less games in the summer here. I would happily trade those August games here to go up north a few times and make a trip in August or late July, whatever the case may be. Even in September here, it's still ridiculously hot, right? At times. I don't know it was this year. But you get that October, November stretch where, especially late November, early December, Minnesota, it's cold up there. Cool. Come down here and play in November, December. We'll host you. The weather will be great. Today's a cold day with a little rain, and it's going to be in the 70s here today, right? You're gonna be fine.
I mean, if you look at the current schedule, we play 2 games at home against Minnesota and DC. Like, starting like 2 games on the road or 2 games at home isn't a big deal. It just isn't.
No, and if you're worried about, I think about games like our games against Dallas or Houston, right? If you're worried about, well, you don't want to necessarily have those games in the colder times because you need that availability for the northern teams to come down. Well, then you play those in October and March or April, because by October and March anyway, northern teams are still playing home games as it is now. Not a big deal.
I mean, Chicago's opener is week 2. It's a 1:30 in the afternoon game in February, but they're going to play it. It might be terrible, but hey, at least it's at 1:30, not at 7:30. I mean, I do like that this schedule continues on last year's trends of having a lot of earlier games, especially for the northern teams. I mean, the Toronto match that we were just talking about is a TBD match because we don't actually know what time it is going to be scheduled for, because MLS says every match before American Memorial Day is going to be at 4:30 or earlier in Toronto. Great. That's fine and normal.
I also push back on this idea from some of the northern fans that it's impossible to play when it's colder. When it gets down below freezing, I hear you. But I went to several matches last year in England where Seth, it never got out of like the low 40s.
Oh, yeah, no. You can play all the time in the cold.
That's most of the Premier League season.
Yeah. I mean, and these fans watch that shit. I know they do. So don't sit here and tell me that
freaking roof on your stadiums. The new Chicago stadium is going to be weatherized, just like the Minnesota stadium is. Yeah, if you're playing out at where the Gophers play, where they did, like 18 degrees out at TD Bank Stadium is terrible. 18 degrees at Allianz Field stinks, but it's not as bad. You're at least wind sheltered.
Yeah, and I mean, they're framing this, especially I think Minnesota's put out a lot of bitchy stuff about this, but like they're framing this as a giveaway to like, Texas teams and stuff like that. DC in July is fucking miserable, even if you go that far north. Like this is most of the map.
One of the hottest sporting events I have ever been to was in New York City in July. Went to a Rockies game up there against the Yankees on a weekend, and a heat wave hit. Grew up in Alabama. I live in Texas. I drank more water that day than I have ever drank in my life because of how damn hot it was up there. And it's the only sporting event I have ever seen where they went on the big board and said, please, God, do not buy beer today, because they didn't want people dying in the stands. So, again, we are a unique climate, or climates, I should say, on this continent because of how it is. And you can catch days like that just about anywhere in the summer.
And I agree with Scott with smart scheduling. We can get around, kind of the bad possibilities or bad likelihoods. But I do worry because I do think they actually set this out. You have to break the schedule at some point. Fine. I would rather they do it next year, but whatever. I understand you have to actually, have this little micro season we're talking about sometime. Cool, whatever, it has to be done. I think the way they set it out is maybe not perfect, but very, very good and very, very smart. So I'm worried how they're going to fuck this up, because they fuck everything up. Are they going to screw up the smart scheduling? Or
I was thinking about this. So this year's schedule, we open up on February 21st, and then next year it is going to be a 4-week playoff that ends Memorial Day weekend. In this year's schedule, we have 11 matches between the February kickoff and May 3rd, which would be the decision day of what I'm calling the Clausura, because it's effectively a Clausura season. So in that season, we're just going to play the 14 teams in the West, 7 home, 7 away. We have to fit in 3 more weekday matches on top of CONCACAF Champions League. I don't know how you fit in that and Open Cup. That's how they're going to fuck it up.
I figured Open Cup was going to get sacrificed in one way, shape, or form, but I think they're going to screw something else up too, but we'll see.
Yeah, the mini season's interesting to me because I actually don't like the idea of a 14-game mini season. The way they're putting it out, where you just play your conference once. And here's why. Because they're going to try and say whoever wins is MLS Cup champion, and it's bullshit. You're not an actual MLS Cup champion. Just bring back the MLS Cup is back tournament or something weird like that for half a season. No one's going to complain. Let's do something different and interesting. You can still make money. It's fine. You can still have a playoff. Like, that doesn't stop you. You can still find a way to play enough games, but you don't have to call it like a mini season. Just do something different with it.
But I mean, in 2020, they had MLS is back and an MLS Cup. And the Columbus Crew sure treat their star from 2020 as a real star.
I know.
I'm not claiming whoever wins that as a champion. I'm sorry.
I know it kind of feels like one of those like Carabao Cup Community Shield things where like if your team wins it, it's clearly a trophy, and if your team doesn't, it's clearly not.
I maintain the Community Shield is far more of a trophy than the Carabao Cup, but even when my team doesn't win it.
I agree.
Debate for a different day. But any other notes on kind of the schedule, either writ large for the MLS move or, Austin FC? I feel like we have a lot of the same like repeat opponents and the same kind of orders. And
yeah, I think our schedule overall is really boring next year. It's just more the same. But I think when we move to the calendar change and you get the divisions and then we start playing everyone in the league at least once a year, that is a massive step forward for the league.
Yeah. And I think it's also going to be a world of who are our division pairs. So I assume that we will be with Dallas and Houston, not 100% guaranteed, but most likely. And then the question is, do they pair us with the 3 Southern California teams, or do they pair us with the Cascadia teams? I am personally very pro pairing us with the Cascadia teams. Those are better away days. It's more fun things to do. And also I don't need a forced rivalry between us and LAFC. Going back to the hammer and nail analogy earlier.
I'm very pro Cascadia grouping too, because it makes sense to have three teams for a 16 division. You get all the California teams plus the Rocky Mountain Cup in another division, and that just makes total sense to me. And you preserve every rivalry in that space, because we've seen the one that's gone around where like San Diego gets split off from the LA team somehow, and it's like, why would you do that when you just brought San Diego in? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, put all the California teams together, put them with Salt Lake and Colorado, which is like the mountain rivalry. They have a name for it. Texas teams, Cascadia teams, call it a day. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Like,
well, and that solves the weather scheduling problem too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand because I've seen a lot of maps that split up California, and to me, if you're trying to build rivalries, you don't split up teams inside their own state. That would just seem kind of stupid to me. Like, I know that they have their own like Copa Tejas version in California that is going to be maintained, and there just seems to be a really simple solution, and I'm not sure that MLS is going to pick the obvious solution because they're going to be too concerned about trying to make the map look geographic in a sense. The other one I did see was putting us with the mountain teams and San Diego. I like that from a sporting perspective for us because those are a lot of very unserious teams. Like Houston doesn't spend enough to try, Dallas doesn't spend enough to try, Colorado doesn't, Real Salt Lake doesn't. Like, I would not mind playing all of those teams twice because they are never going to be competitive.
But if we got put with Cascadia, would we not be forced to try to be competitive and actually up our game?
No.
Yeah, because those are actually good front offices. Like what Seattle and Vancouver do all the time, and even Portland. Like that's also a much more interesting group of six, I think.
Well, and we kind of already have like a natural thing going on with Portland. It's it's not Cascadia level rivalry, it's not Copa Tejas level, but like played some nasty matches with them. There's sort of like a similar city vibe a little bit. It's not like a total random or anything like us against San Diego. Like, who gives a shit?
Dallas and Seattle have a little history too. So it's not completely. Vancouver is the one that's just out there, but that's fine. They have tons of history up there in Cascadia, and who's going to argue with Vancouver away days, right? And plus, Vancouver has a dome, so that makes the away day for them easy to do whenever you want to play it. But I just think that grouping makes so much more sense than anything else I've seen out there.
Yeah, and with what Seth said of away days that are consistent, like Seattle, Portland, Vancouver are great away days, and then we still preserve the bus trip away days if people want to do that. Like, I would much rather do all of those cities than fly to LA twice or San Diego. Like, it's just more fun.
Well, and odds are you're going to be in LA once a year anyway, because the way that you're going to play everyone. So if you do.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be in LA because you're either going to get the Galaxy or LAFC on the road.
Yeah, no, but knowing MLS, they'll do something stupid where we'll play both of them away one season, both of them home the same. Like, there's going to be some dumb things that come out in the schedule that are illogical. But once we have this new format, until the league expands to 32 teams, where they'll switch to 8 divisions of 4, you have your format. So welcome Mesa, Arizona, and Indianapolis, maybe.
Yeah, but I guess the other question I have here, if we're in a Cascadia thing, are we going to see like, mini road trips where we play Seattle on a Sunday and Portland on a Wednesday or something like that? Where
I mean, theoretically, we could have had that in the first 6 seasons of Austin FC, and we've never had that once.
Yeah, but like that's not really in a division in the same way.
But like,
also, Devin, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
I mean, it's a great idea. We should absolutely do that. But like, it's MLS. Like, I did notice, who got that is that Inter Miami goes to Colorado and Salt Lake in 4 days in a row. What a novel idea! They gave it to Messi because they actually think about this stuff for him, but not for everyone else.
We're just the little people, Seth.
We don't matter at all. No.
All right, you guys want to talk about some roster moves?
Let's do it.
I think we got plenty of time to chew on the schedule, but biggest surprises, anything like that? Cleveland coming back?
Obrion. I think he had a guaranteed contract this year. yeah, Cleveland coming back is an eye opener. Unless it only makes sense if we're planning to trade him for Gam.
Or he's willing to take that sort of Matt Bersano third keeper role.
Yeah, but you're paying him $250,000.
Don't know.
Yeah, unless there's something else that Roto is cooking that we don't know, and I don't know. There's all sorts of things that could be happening in the world, but I don't want to speculate on anything. But I think I agree with Brad. The trading for Gam is what would make the most sense. There's a number of teams that need keepers across the league. Rather than let him walk, go get something for that in exchange. Might be possible.
He's kind of also at the point of his career where he needs to go somewhere where he can compete for a starting job. And if he's going to continue this, otherwise he is just going to be a career backup, and those guys are always just going to get traded out for the next younger guy. And that might happen to him. Like, he might just not land and end up in like a USL side, which wouldn't be bad. I mean, he's still playing pro soccer, but if he's going to be an MLS starter, he needs a place to prove that he can do that on the field. And Austin's not that place. It is,
but also at the same time, if you were paid $250,000 to effectively work once in a year, I'd take that job.
Yeah, no, there's no shame in that in any way, shape, or form. Like, great, yeah. Like, get those checks.
I was gonna say USL, he ain't making anything close to that. I don't know if you guys have been following it, but there's likely going to be a player strike in the USL. Their CBA runs out in December, and it is bad. I mean, I was listening to a podcast over driving down to Cincinnati about this, and there's like the minimum salary in the USL once you exclude food and everything else is only 10-month salaries, not 12-month salaries. It's $13,000 a year. There's like less than 30 guys that are making six figures.
Yeah, so I'm sure he would love to be a backup.
Yeah, the only other thing I'm looking at the press release now is Heinz Ike automatically exercises option based on performance metrics. I assume that was probably game started.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was not a it was not like, hey, his FOTMOB rating was above 6.4 average.
If your save percentage is above, no. And then unfortunately the contract options weren't picked up for 2021 OG Julio Cascante. Jimmy time has ended, and sadly Diego Rubio, which we know already from an Instagram post, but it's still kind of sad because he has been a really good kind of like servant of the club for the couple of years he's been here.
Yeah, I liked him, but I do understand that kind of Tenny hybrid, maybe a striker role. You want to get a little younger. He might have gotten, like, I floated this idea, his injury might have been worse than we thought. He doesn't think he can go another full season at MLS level.
Well, after his like big injury in Colorado, he's kind of never been the same. And once you have something like that and you keep having little injuries, like, you're just never going to get back to that level of fitness to be able to do to physically really do what you need to do. And I think he's just kind of there.
Yeah, Julio, my assumption is they offered him a minimum-ish contract and said, "You're welcome back," and he kindly told them to go fuck themselves. Totally fair on both parts.
Yeah, Julio can get a decent contract either within the league or down in Costa Rica pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, and we were paying him what, $700, $750 last year.
Yeah, somewhere around $800,000 actually. So it's the decision. It's the same as the Diego move a few years ago, where it's time, like, overpaid for what you're doing. So.
Yeah, he'll end up being probably a starter outside of MLS or good MLS backup somewhere. Like, that's kind of where he's at right now in his career, and there's no, he'll pop up somewhere.
I mean, what's interesting is that we only have 2 senior roster spots open right now. There was already a move that was potentially linking us with the former Seattle Sounders, Jonathan Bell, who could be available in a supplemental spot as an American defender to sort of replace Julio. Replacing Julio with a supplemental spot from someone who was on TAM says everything about this in terms of a budget move. And Jonathan Bell's probably about 80 to 90% as good as Julio.
Yeah, speaking of budget moves, bringing back Ilie on a new contract was interesting.
Well, let's see what the number is. And we won't know until May.
The entire determination of whether it's a good or a bad move. So hopefully new contract means less money.
I assume it's something in the $300K range rather than the $600K range.
That still seems high for the output he was giving us, but, it is what it is. They like him on the field. They like him as the kind of coach out there.
Yeah, no, I just hope that we can actually have enough GAM to sign a couple have enough budget space to actually utilize TAM, because we are now the only team in MLS that has no TAM players. It's like we're playing MLS 2018 Football Manager mode, not 2026.
No TAM, you'll never sing that. Any ideas on, I've seen a couple things floated where there are these rumors for Uzuni going abroad that I assume are complete bullshit, but any kind of active rumors or anything about our players?
No, I haven't seen anything. I would assume we're shopping Uzuni some. I don't know that there's much interest elsewhere. There could be some in some places over in Europe, but we're not going to get back anything of what we paid for him. It's Roto, so you never know. We've seen him pull some interesting moves out of his backside a couple of times, but I just don't see that this year with Uzuni. I think kind of our roster is what it is, with the exception of a few spots that we've opened up now with some free money that we have, which we can maybe use to give us some more depth, because that's really what this team needs, is more depth and a 10.
We need a lot of things.
Yeah, I think this offseason is going to be interesting because of who we might sell more so than who we might bring in. Talking mostly about Danny and Owen, I would guess that Uzuni's agent is probably shopping him to go back to Europe, because I kind of get the impression that with just the personal stuff that was going on this year of being away from his wife and his newborn, like, that's really tough. And he probably might just have that experience, like, you know what? I just want to go back. I want to be able to be with them. And that makes total sense and good for him. It just, the business side of it is going to make it really difficult, because if you're not making money on DPs, like, you lose resources really quickly there, as we did with 3UC, or as we were going to do with 3UC until the Argentinian clubs decided to just spend like drunken sailors. So I think if Danny and Owen leave, I think that tells us more about where we're trying to determine the roster. Also, with Julio gone, we're down to 4 guys from the 2021 team, and so it still seems like Brad's going to be the last one. But I think there's an outside shot at Danny, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Owen's going to be gone, hopefully to a better destination, maybe World Cup year. We'll see. Zan, he may just stick around because he's here. Gallagher, I think even last year he lost a step, and when he doesn't have speed, he's not the player we need, or who really is going to be MLS level, but I think his clock is ticking. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And Stuver just signed a contract till when?
27.
27, okay.
And then there's always the dark horse that John could end up being the longest player because he's just so young.
Yeah. And just sort of I'll take a low salary, keep him around. Well, he's a utility-ish guy. We don't have anybody else who can do set pieces, blah, 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 blah. Not surprised, by the way, since you mentioned him, Scott, that Jimmy didn't continue. I don't think he's fully like MLS level anyways, but definitely not an international spot, so go play USL, make some money. That's probably the right move for him.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the players who gets kind of screwed by the international slot rule. Like, I think those kind of like fringy guys are the ones that you just don't see end up on rosters because the international spots are just too valuable. And I'd really like to see MLS figure out some way of changing that rule, but I'm not sure how to make that fair and unexploitable, which is obviously the bigger problem of seeing how other teams could just exploit it if they wanted to.
Don't know. Somebody will find a way. They'll sell their women's team to themselves or something for an extra international slot. Or a parking garage or whatever.
Hey, they changed the rules. You can't do that anymore.
They did. I read the very, very, very long Swiss Ramble piece about the new rules, and they make sense. I think they're better. We'll see how somebody games them. Because it's going to happen. Just some classic Man City style accounting fraud.
There's too much money and too many law firms to think that somebody's not going to find a loophole. Somebody will.
So it's going to be Everton because their stadium's named after a law firm. There you go. Free legal bills.
The
All right. Anything else you guys want to hit on, or should we get out of here and prep to go have a long day of watching college football?
I got nothing Austin FC or MLS wise, except playoffs today. The conference finals are today, but go Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver seems the least bad option still out there.
Yeah, I don't know. Vancouver's by far and away the least bad option to me.
I mean, West over East for the final for sure.
It's gonna really bug me if San Diego wins in their first year.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be favorites today. I mean Vancouver's down 2 guys on their back line, on top of an already depleted back line. They're going to play on that weird Snapdragon pitch, and I think SCFC is going to win.
That Vancouver win, by the way, over LAFC was phenomenal and great theater to watch. So if you missed that game, find a way to go back and watch it because it's absolutely worth it, even if you already know the result. And then like I said, we got college football today. It's interesting for a rivalry Saturday. The afternoon slate kind of sucks.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, the afternoon slate from like 2:30 to 6 kind of sucks.
You got Vanderbilt, Tennessee, dude.
That's like the only game that's worth it, though.
Yeah, but it's still a good one. Like, we're playing a fucking fake rivalry game. I don't really care about ours, but
I mean, LSU Oklahoma isn't that on the afternoon slate?
Yeah, that's also not a rivalry game.
That's not also
it's not a rivalry game, but it's an important game in the CFB.
Do I want to watch two teams put up a combined 15 points? Not really.
But if it knocks Oklahoma out of the playoff, then yes, I do.
LSU's not going to score more than 3 today, man. Like they're not winning that football game. Oklahoma's defense is too good for that offense. But Vandy, Tennessee is the only game this afternoon that's worth watching. Florida State, just for the lulz could be.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Might see a fight.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. It's yesterday, top to bottom, was pretty good. Egg Bowl was good for a while, right? But outside of Michigan, Ohio State, which I think is going to be kind of boring. You might get some snow in the second half in that game, which would be cool.
That game is usually boring.
Yeah, I think that game's going to be 10, 14 points in favor of Ohio State, but it's going to be somewhere in like the 24 to 14 range, like something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I do think there's chaos potential in the Iron Bowl tonight. If there's one game I would tell you to watch, it's that one. And it's an Auburn home Iron Bowl, which, as history has shown, crazy shit tends to happen. Hell, the last 3 in that stadium have been absolutely freaking wild. 2, coaching carousel stuff on both sides, potentially, because there's a lot of smoke about. There's a lot of stuff coming out this morning that I'm getting text on that it's pretty interesting. Apparently, there's now Lincoln Riley to Florida rumors popping up. Kalen DeBoer it's been known for about a week or so that he's been chatting with Penn State. However, if Lincoln Riley were to go to Florida, USC could open up, and that might be more interesting than DeBoer being a West Coast guy. It would not be for anybody saying he would never leave Alabama. Bill Curry, Dennis Franchione, it's happened before. Where
he's not really like an Alabama fit.
No, and Bill Curry, I take people back to 1989. Bill Curry had the number 2 team in the country at Alabama. They were undefeated. They lost to Auburn in the Iron Bowl. He left after that game because he had lost 3 straight Iron Bowls, and the people wanted him out, despite the fact that he was winning everything else. And he couldn't, and the pressure was just too much. Dennis Franchione in 2002, after 2 years in Tuscaloosa, walked away and went to Texas A&M. Like, it is not the first time it's happened there, because that fan base is a special level of crazy that most of you have never seen because you've been alive primarily for the Saban years. So if they lose that game tonight to Auburn, and I think this is going to be a shootout. Auburn's offense is completely different since Hugh's not there, because, Hugh's not there and he's not screwing up everything. This could be a really fun wild game tonight that's going to have ramifications all the way down the coaching ladder. Because if Bama opens, number one choice to go there is going to be Lane Kiffin. And Lane will crawl through broken glass to go to Tuscaloosa over any other school that's available. Then if that happens, LSU's stuck out there trying to figure out what to do. We still haven't – I don't have any clue what we're doing at Auburn right now because our number one target is apparently all over the place, and who knows what he's going to do. It's crazy. I think the coaching carousel is about to get absolutely nuts, and a lot of it is based on what happens tonight in Auburn, Alabama.
What a lovely time to have just locked down your coach to a new 6-year contract.
Yeah.
That's giving to me.
Yeah, there are too many good jobs that are open that just have interim guys right now, and there's too many good names around to think that it's not going to get absolutely insane in the next 6 weeks, and there's going to be some crazy stories coming out.
And there's insane jobs with a lot of money that may not be the best jobs.
Here's the other. Here's the other kink in this with Lane. If Auburn wins tonight, Ole Miss is in the championship game next week.
Yeah.
Does he leave that opportunity on the table? Because LSU, if he said today, I want to go to LSU, I'm telling you right now, LSU is not going to let him coach the playoff.
That's insane.
LSU Ole Miss is an old rivalry. Goes back a century.
That'd be a condition for me is I got to coach my team in the playoff or fuck off.
LSU's not going to let that happen.
But we have to remember, so the portal is open the 2nd to the 16th. You need your coach before the portal.
Isn't signing day
early signing day is this week?
Yeah, I was thinking it was this week. Like before championship games, coaches are also worried about early signing day. Like it's going to be an insane 2 weeks.
But LSU's not going to let him coach if he wants to come down there. They will not let him coach the playoff. Period.
But that's the thing. All those teams need to try to get their coach locked up because that's going to affect signing day. Like there's already stories about like Vanderbilt stealing 4 and 5 stars now. Like that's a world we live in currently.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's flipping a 5-star from Georgia right now, which is crazy.
I'm just telling you guys, I need Vanderbilt and Indiana in the same playoff, and fuck it, Ole Miss.
And Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's
man. People forget how much money Tech has. That is one of those schools that like people do not understand.
I don't think enough people have watched Texas Tech this year either because that team can play. And I would not want to be across the field from them at any point in the playoff. Defensive line especially is just nasty. The Lane thing is fascinating. I think the only coaches that are going to get an opportunity to coach their team out in the playoff if they take a new job are North Texas's coach. Because he's already said, I'm staying with the team through no matter what. And Oklahoma State's not in a position to argue with that. So Oklahoma State's going to let that happen. John Summerall at Tulane's the other one. And the reason why is it's a lot different when you're a G5 coach coming up and your new program says, go coach your G5. Because that G5 program is not a threat to you for the entirety of your rest of your career. If Lane were to go to LSU today and say, I'm leaving, Ole Miss can't let him coach. And LSU can't let him coach at Ole Miss because LSU is then giving Ole Miss, one of their chief rivals. Like, if you ask LSU fans, one of their 2 biggest rivals is Ole Miss. And if you ask Ole Miss fans, they say the same thing. So you can't let him go get glory for one of your rivals that you also recruit against. You know, if you're Auburn and you hire John Summerall, you're not recruiting against Tulane. It's not a concern.
Also, the conspiracy theories if Lane coaches that game and loses would absolutely be insane, and I want that to happen. But that's why they can't let him do that.
I think
I would have hilarious things to happen to Lane Kiffin.
I have a weird feeling today. He's going to say, I'm staying at Ole Miss, and then that Bama job opens, and then he's gone in 3 days to Tuscaloosa. I think that's what's happening. So, going to be interesting. I'm fascinated by what's happening this weekend.
I will say that now that my college team is in the SEC, following the SEC is insane. I did not realize like the level of craziness these fan bases have of like, no, that guy's gone, get him out.
I tried more.
Or like, no, I did not believe you, and I should have. And even like, the A&M fans who are really happy about having like a one-loss team, but still sitting there and being like, well, you didn't play nobody, and like that's like an actual thing that people say out loud. I did not realize.
And by the way, to all the Texas fans listening, great win last night. You don't deserve to be in the playoff.
Yeah, not a fucking shot.
Stop.
Here's the other thing. Like, I know that they're trying. I think it's an interesting case study in terms of what the committee is going to say they care about this year. In theory, that should be a consistent thing year to year in terms of like, do you care about those top 10 wins more than the bad loss to Florida? And I think that becomes an interesting discussion. But to me, like this UT team, like they're a good team, and they're kind of what I said like a few weeks ago of. This reminds me of the team after the title team that was building to being a very good team in 2 years. And that's where we're at right now. And that's okay. It's just, I don't see this team doing anything besides like winning one playoff round. And then when they get to like the real big boys, the way that, Georgia and Ohio State are, they're just fodder. They do not have it to beat those teams. They just don't. And so it'd be a good experience for them to get the playoff, but I think there's a lot of big teams that have better resumes than them.
Yeah, you can't lose to 3-8 Florida. You just can't.
Yeah. At some point, losing 3 games matters.
Yeah,
that's teams that only lose 2 games should be in over you.
It's the same argument that Ole Miss had against them last year, because Ole Miss lost on the road to a bad Florida team last year, and Lane was complaining about getting left out. You lost on the road to Florida. Alabama got left out. You lost to a couple of shitty 6-6 teams last year, Bama. Like, it does matter who you lose to. You have to beat the team you're supposed to beat. If you beat and you can't, and for those of you saying, well, you never schedule a good team again. First of all, by SEC rules, you are required to play at least one P4 non-conference game every year. You don't just get to go put Rice on the schedule in favor of Ohio State. Sorry. 2, if you beat Florida, a very, very bad Florida team, this conversation is not even happening right now. You're in. Despite the fact that you got waxed in Athens. Like, we're just casually walking over the fact that Georgia beat the shit out of you in the fourth quarter up in Athens. So, good season. I think Arch really improved throughout the year. I think if Texas can find an O-line, they're going to be pretty damn good next year. Sark needs to stick with the run more as well, because that would help out a ton. Yeah.
I think that's part of the O-line discussion. Like, to me, I think Texas is probably just like regular player improvement growth and like maybe 1 or 2 like good transfer portal guys from being like an actual contender next year. But the big question this year is, what level of a quarterback is Arch going to be? And there's a lot of press about him being like a Heisman favorite, and that was unfair to him because he's not at this stage in his career.
Yeah.
But he does look to be a quarterback who, when he is, as an upperclassman, who will be able to do that because he does have the talent to do it. And I think this year of starting, he got to make enough mistakes to learn and grow, which is the important thing.
I agree with you. I think he's going to be very, very good next year. And I also think it's probably his last year in Austin. So
we're just going to skip over the fact that Mizzou's only 4 losses are to teams in the top 12. Like, that's definitely playoff material, right?
Mizzou ain't beat nobody, Paul.
I mean, if A&M played that schedule, they'd probably also have 4 losses. Like,
A&M. And here's the thing.
Like, the best SEC team they played finished 9th.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Texas had a similar thing last year where their schedule worked out. And the thing is, both teams played the exact same SEC schedules except flipped for home and road this year because that's the way it worked this year.
Yeah.
Last year, the teams that were on Texas' schedule largely sucked outside of Georgia. This year, they happen to be much better. Last year, A&M's teams that they played were pretty damn good. This year, they happen to suck. They caught the year where Auburn was terrible with still Hugh Freeze. Like, I think if A&M played Auburn right now, good luck, A&M, because the offense is just massively different already without Hugh. But they got to play Florida. They got to play some other teams. But if you look at the schedule and you see a schedule normal years with Auburn, LSU, Florida, who else do they have on the schedule? Mizzou. That's not an easy schedule on the eye test at the beginning of the season. It's just the way it broke out. Like, and anybody complaining about looking at A&M and saying you didn't play anybody, please go look at Ohio State's schedule. Please.
A&M went to fucking Notre Dame and beat them.
Yeah.
It's not like their SEC schedule ended up late, but talk about not putting anybody in their schedule. They put someone on their schedule, road game, beat them.
Is this a call to say that, hey, we need November flex scheduling in college football because our conferences have gotten too big that you could have such a shitty list of opponents in both the Big Ten and the SEC?
I mean, hear me out. We had 2 separate conferences of 12 teams. One of them we call the Big 12, and they're like geographically makes sense in Texas and Iowa and Oklahoma and Kansas and maybe even up in Nebraska, right? And then there's another conference that we keep as the SEC, but just 12 teams, right? But it doesn't go west of like Arkansas. It makes sense to me. I don't know. And we could all play each other more often.
No. Nope. Bring back the Big 8. Big 8 or nothing.
I'm good with that.
Texas keeps conferences. I don't want to be in one with them.
I'm more than happy to bring back the Big 8 as well. So.
All right, thank you. That's all I want. The Big 8, the Big 10 with 10 teams. Fuck this Penn State shit.
Go back to being independent, Penn State.
And
actually,
you know what?
Notre
Notre
Dame.
I don't even notice Rutgers or Maryland.
Go recreate the Big East, Penn State.
Yeah, and force Notre Dame to be in it.
Honestly, a Big East.
Notre Dame could be in either the Big 10 or the ACC. They get a pick.
But if we get to recreate the Big East, we can put Notre Dame in there.
Yeah.
And now you
make them join a conference.
You kick Miami back to the Big East, along with Virginia Tech back to the Big East, and that's a viable conference.
Man, Brad, you're cooking.
Dude, let me work.
All right, hear me out. Notre Dame in the Southwest Conference. Make it happen.
Love it,
especially with NIL.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Notre Dame does not want to compete with SMU's NIL. They do not. Think about what SMU was doing when it was illegal. Do you have any idea what they do now that it is legal? Like,
this is what I tell people about SMU, and they don't understand it. I'm like, y'all understand? They're not taking any conference money for 7 years, right? Like they paid to get into the ACC. That's how stupid rich they are.
Yeah.
But
SMU's one of those schools like I saw a thing where Vanderbilt was like, based on our endowment, we could buy Georgia. And like SMU is one of those schools of like, no, like we could just do that.
Yeah.
It's people don't understand that.
SMU is going to make the playoff again, by the way. I think the ACC breaks their way. Like if they win, they're going to – the ACC this weekend, if they win, they're in, if I'm not mistaken, to the conference title game.
See, I think SMU is one of those jobs that like if you – hire a really on fire coach there, you don't have to recruit more than like 60 miles outside of where you are, because all you have to do is recruit Dallas Fort Worth really well. You have a ton of NIL money, you have a ton of old money that will like support you to do whatever. And that fan base, like of all the stuff they did, and don't get me wrong, they did a lot of illegal shit, didn't deserve the death penalty.
No, but
it wasn't that much worse than anything else anybody else was doing.
They were just bad at it.
No, it's because they weren't the name brand. They weren't the Blue Blood brand. Somebody had to take the hit, and they took the hit.
They ultimately got busted because they were putting the money in SMU envelopes as opposed to blank ones. Like that is an actual thing that caught them to get caught.
Yeah, I think Rhett Lashley's actually a great fit there. It's going to take a lot to pull him out of there at some point if he wants to, because there was actually talk of him maybe going to Arkansas because he's an Arkansas grad, or back to Auburn because he coached at Auburn for years. And I kept telling people back home, I'm like, we don't have the money to try to pull him out of there. Y'all don't pay attention enough to who actually is rich. It's what I told people back home when I went home to visit a few years ago when Texas and A&M joined the conference, and an Alabama fan, well, I got told Alabama's got more money than God. And I'm like, yeah, Alabama doesn't own their own oil fields. There's a difference here.
Yeah, there's levels to this. I mean, also just like look at like UT apparel revenue every year. Like they always are first every time. Like it is a huge fan base, and it's a fan base that has a lot of money. Like
it's also a fan base with only one national title in the last 55 years. We can go.
You know, if Joe Jamail was able, or the Moody's were able to buy players 10 years ago, yeah, we'd be able to do that too. He was too busy getting the field named after him.
See, look, you could buy players at UT. You just weren't good at it. There's a difference. Now that you're in the SEC, this might rub off on you. Okay.
Yeah. No, Mac Brown's inability to understand that Robert Griffin and Johnny Manziel were going to be good college quarterbacks got him deservedly fired.
All right, we've digressed enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good ending note. Maybe we'll end up doing like a full, once the playoffs announced, college football playoff preview and who's in, who's out. I think that would be fun, but we'll get some content out towards you guys.
Yeah, FCS, by the way, we have 2 Ivy League teams in the FCS playoffs for the first time ever. Because
speaking of places with more money than God.
Yeah.
Harvard is a hedge fund that runs a school as a fucking side project because they're bored.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, on behalf of Scott.
I was going to say, Harvard Villanova. That is an interesting game. That's not a basketball game.
Yeah.
Boston against Philly, the fucking worst fans on the planet. All right. Well, on behalf of Seth, Brad, and Scott, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
Promise here for Austin Jarrett Stroud. It's Diego, for goodness! He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.